Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. I hope you all are seated comfortably. This is my first ever slideshow. Many years ago, I had two cameras, and I had a still camera and I had a Super 8 camera, and it was Ian Mackay, and I would take out both cameras and we would film and shoot everything that we could, and quite often we would actually develop some of the still photography ourselves, for better or for worse. I've had an interest in photography for many years, and at one point I started traveling pretty far and pretty wide. And I said, I better start bringing a camera with me. And over the years, as we guys are wont to do, the gear got upped. Like, I could do this, I'll try that. But as an amateur photographer, which honestly is all I am, and you'll have to suffer the slings and arrows of that, you'll see. But I needed better gear because I saw that there's more to get. And so over the years, I've tried to do that. And I've been dragging camera gear with me all over the world now. It's why I stand like this now. Some of you know, you drag that awful backpack and you have to sucker the people at Heathrow. No, it is small enough to get on the plane, and they want you to take it somewhere else. And so we who are burdened with this insatiable appetite to document things with a camera, it nearly gets torn from your body in some tougher rooms in the world. But you have to haul it all around with you. So sometimes the back hurts as much as, well, sometimes your feelings get hurt with what you see. And so here we go with this slideshow. The first one has started. Okay, let's get the lights going. All right, this is Afghanistan. And I was in the back of a Chinook helicopter, and I was on a USO tour. We were coming back from a day visiting forward bases on the Afghan-Pakistan border. I know we were at Khost and Gardez. We were at a third one, I'm not remembering the name. And so basically we are choppering back towards the Bagram Air Base near Kabul. And we're going through the mountains there, and it's a good day. And you know it's a good day because the back is down. He's watching outside. There is an Apache or some kind of Black Hawk. There's a Black Hawk over there on the side watching us. On bad days, the gate is up and there's a gun pointing out. On good days, the gate is down. That soldier was sitting there with a Mountain Dew bottle, spitting whatever comes out of the squeezed tobacco in your cheek. And he was watching the sun go down. We were choppering back to have one of those incredibly mediocre army dinners later on. And I snuck up behind him and I took that photo. And in these environments, there's no safety belts and there's no one saying buckle up. If you fall off, you're screwed. And so that was that photo. This is a bit of what is left on Highway 80. This is Kuwait, otherwise known as the Highway of Death. And as you know, during Desert Storm, I guess whoever it was, Schwarzkopf or whoever, called in the airstrike. And the Iraqi men and soldiers were fleeing back to Iraq out of Kuwait, knowing the gig was up. And the military forces went overhead and basically killed every single person underneath. Eventually, bulldozers and cranes swept everything to the side, and now Highway 80 is this extremely vast, desolate space with a howling wind and a perpetual sandstorm. They call it Kuwaiti fog every afternoon. So I stood amongst all this wreckage. The soldiers would not allow me to go out and play in it because they said something might go kaboom. But this stuff basically sits in half-lives into the sand from now until whenever. And that's kind of what a war looks like at the end of it. Those are all driven by people whose bones are probably still sitting in that sand. I think human beings can do better than this. This is just a daily patrol over the streets of Baghdad. This is Iraq, and this is a Black Hawk, and I'm sitting opposite this guy who is armed. He's looking down. That machine gun is active. And these guys basically go over the streets to make sure everyone is behaving themselves. And I would go out every single day on a Black Hawk and visit different bases. Most of the bases I went to, someone had died on that base, so on a patrol within 24 hours of my visit. So every single day for the week I was out there, I was surrounded by very sad, very grim soldiers. And at night I would sleep in different locations in the green zone, and all night long, all you hear is intermittent gunfire. One soldier, he thought I would be upset if I learned the truth. I said, sounds like you got some gunfire out there. He said, oh, they're just celebrating after a soccer game. Like, pal, it's 2 in the morning. So it was a bad scene, and I was out there for a week. It was pretty terrifying most of the time. I got to be in a mortar attack I was lucky. I got to be in a building that was fortified. Nothing got on me. But the concussion of the blast was enough to felt like a fist going into my breastbone. And all the soldiers around me had warned me that there's going to be a daily mortar attack. And they said, "See, sir, we told you." And I was signing someone's picture. I said, "Okay." And one poor guy, he dove and hit the ground because he had sense. And everyone laughed at him. And he's trying to save face. He said, "I slipped." And even I laughed. And back in good old, can't believe you miss it that much, Bagram Air Base, this is leftover Soviet war junk that the Soviets, they had to leave Afghanistan very quickly. And they left the Bagram Air Base very quickly. A lot of it is unsafe to walk on. So you'll see these mine signs quite often on the Bagram Air Base. And that looks like a bit of a tank and some bit of a jet part that was perhaps shot out of the sky by a Stinger missile supplied by your tax dollar. This is, I took the photo because I admire the phone graphic at the bottom. This is in beautiful downtown Tehran, where there's a perpetual traffic jam. And I saw that little bit of Bush graffiti, and I said, wow, the Iranian people have torn the First Amendment from the Constitution, and they're having some fun. And so my tour spy, who doesn't want me to see anything untoward, I said, "Look at that, that's funny." And he said, "Oh, don't look." And so I jumped out of the car, and he couldn't follow me, because there's no way I'm leaving Tehran, Iran, without that photograph. And so I took a few snaps, and I jumped back in the car, which had only managed to go about half a block down the street. And he said, "That is forbidden." I said, "It's just too late, pal." And I think it's cute. I hope that all of you, it's a big wish, but I hope that all of you get a chance to go to Iran one day. I met nothing but some of the most wonderful people. The food was great. The ice cream was phenomenal. And people begged me to come back and bring a friend. And I, in turn, said, you guys got to come and visit me out here in America sometime. You have to come to New York. You have to come to LA, for a minute. But you at least have to see the Eastern Seaboard and eat some real pizza. And so I hope they do, and I hope you do. This is Bangkok, Thailand. And this is a man, this is his gig. He crawls up and down the street in downtown Bangkok, and he pushes this bowl ahead of him. And I use this one shot because you can see the sandaled feet of people walking by him, paying him no mind. And so I stood in front of a shop on some stairs, and I watched him crawl up and down for quite a while. And he saw me looking, and I gave him the wink, like, you got some bot coming your way, don't worry. And so I got in front of him, because he has this wonderful expression on his face. It's an earnest look of optimism to me, or maybe I'm reading it wrong, but he's out there in the rain and he's crawling back and forth, and I put hopefully a nice chunk of change in his jar for him, and that's his gig. I've asked people who visit Bangkok fairly regularly, I said, "Have you ever seen the guy with the no leg who pushes him?" Like, "Oh yeah, that guy, he's always there." So this is his beat. This is what he does. This is Burma. And I've been to every country in Southeast Asia, sometimes many, many times. I love Southeast Asia. I love the history. The people are heartbreakingly gentle and friendly, at least to me. And in the summer of 2008, I had an opportunity to go to Burma. And we started in Rangoon, and we went north. And this is north of Rangoon, several hours, a few days driving in Mandalay. And that's when I learned that monks get 1 hour to eat, 1 hour a day. And that's why some of their bowls are really big. And this was the biggest bowl of rice I had ever seen in my life. And they were so busy getting ready for the meal, they didn't seem to mind me kind of getting shoulder to shoulder with them to get this interesting vantage point. And they're very friendly, but I had no idea they only get an hour. So that hour is very, very special. The rest of the day, they walk the streets, they give out blessings, and they basically get ready for that next meal. This is the Irrawaddy River. And we're up north, me and this crazy film crew I went to Burma with. We tried to sneak across this river in the south in Pyongyang, trying to get to the Irrawaddy Delta after the cyclone Nargis had just hit. We wanted to document some of the destruction. Some of you will remember when CNN had sneaky cams, and they're going in there with their night vision goggles trying to get footage. We found every cop we could and offered them money to let us get on the ferry to go across that river to get into the Irrawaddy Delta region. It's the first country I've ever been in where I tried to pay off a cop and it didn't work. And I think they were basically afraid of Tan Shui, the senior general at the time. And news bulletin, Burma has had a new election, and they have a new man in charge. In fact, they've abolished the title senior general. There's no longer, apparently, a military junta in charge of Burma. There's now a president. His name is Xin Tian. And apparently he's moderate, and he's had an open meeting with Aung San Suu Kyi. So maybe things are looking better for the good people of Burma.